Warning. This program contains frank and mature discussions intended to educate and advocate on the subjects of sexuality, sex, and gender and body positivity. Due to the nature of the topics being discussed, this may include subject matter and language that some may find offensive. This program is intended for adults only. If you are under the age of 18, if such material offends you, or if it is illegal to view such material in your community, please exit now.
Brown chicken, brown cow. 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 This is fun. Brown chicken, brown cow. Brown chicken, brown cow.
Hi guys, this is Sean Monkey McAnee, Monkey for short. You know what? If you're in town here in Sacramento, or if you're anywhere, you need to check out Midtown Moxies. They are a Sacramento burlesque troupe that is blowing my doors off. They are amazing. Generally, they have 2 shows a month. One called the Midtown Moxies and one called Moxie Crush. You need to go to midtownmoxies.com or find them on Facebook. They are amazing. They're beautiful. They're funny as hell. Trust me, I wouldn't be advertising with them if I didn't believe in them. They are freaking fantastic. Enough said. Go to midtownmoxies.com. Welcome, everyone, to Season 2 of the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow show and podcast. We are actually going to do a whole month of everything that we've done up to this point. We're taking a look back, and we're also going to be talking a lot about how we're going to be moving forward to make the show better for you, for us, for everybody. People we're going to be talking to, guess what? We're going to be talking to fantastic people that we've talked to in the past. We're going to be talking to our listeners. We're going to be talking also to the people that sponsor us, people that take care of us and help us put the show out for you. So we're going to have a lot of fun this month. You're going to learn a lot about the inner workings of the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow show. You're going to learn a lot from the hosts, like I said, from the people that support us, the people that listen to us, their ideas, what they would like to see, as well as the people behind the scenes. So you're going to be able to hear from the madam and the professor. We have a whole podcast just with them to learn about what it takes to do this show and all the inner workings of what goes on behind the scenes that you don't have to worry about, but you get to hear it if you really want to. This episode, surprisingly enough, is actually one of our very first. It actually is our first and second episodes that we had ever recorded when we were testing out equipment. We were trying stuff out. I actually shanghaied one of my partners. You know her. If you've been watching the show or listening to the show, it's Miss Laura. She was my very first co-host on the show. And we sat back and we decided just to talk a little bit about sex positivity, about the show in general, about what we want it to be. And we just came up with topics and we just sort of just ran with it. And it was a lot of fun, but you're going to see how far we've come from now until then, or then until now. Either way, just basically you cut your banana in half and you just switch them around so you make the 2 points tip. That's what we got. Enjoy. Welcome to the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow show. I am Sean Monkey McAnee, your host and guide through this episode. Today we're going to be talking about polyamory, and I have a very special guest host with me. You want to say hi, Laura?
Hello.
She waved again. She waved at the microphone. You should all have felt very warm and invited wave. It was very cute.
You have to wave. That's the only way to make it more inviting.
This is true. You want to tell our fine listeners what polyamory is?
Sure. So polyamory is ethical non-monogamy, if I can say words correctly. It's basically multiple loves, and it's the idea of, I guess, dating multiple people and being in multiple relationships at the same time.
Perfect. And it came out of a history of open marriage and multiple couples, and some people feel it also came out of the swinging community, some of those things. Those are all ethical non-monogamy. And so everybody knows. Everybody is able to date in most situations. Sometimes there's different types of polyamory out there, but the one that is the most common is everybody has freedom to date other people in the relationship, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have a variety, and I think kind of polyamory is whatever you make it for yourself and for your partners.
Right. So what we're trying to talk about today is where we got started in poly. For myself, I've been with my wife for a very long time, and we had always talked about being open or trying to include others in our relationship, but it never quite caught on until about 8 years ago. And my wife actually realized there was a term for it, polyamory. There's books, there's websites, there's pages, there's all these things out there. And what really started it was I had a bad injury and I could not be sexually active. Anytime we were, I was hurting. And so we opened up our relationship because I couldn't sexually fulfill any of her needs. And it just felt more natural to me to have other people in our lives to be able to help. Because some people think it's all about the sex. And what's great about polyamory, at least in the way that I practice it, is I have partners that are willing to come help me do things. I'm willing to go take care of one of my other partners, or even my metamor. Now, what is a metamor?
Metamor is your partner's partner.
Perfect. Yeah.
I feel like this is a quiz now.
This is a quiz, yeah. You now have 20 points on the board. Fantastic. So that's kind of how we got started. Well, I was hurting, couldn't have sex, and we opened up our relationship. How did you get started?
See, mine was a lot. I guess it was a completely different experience for me. I had never really even thought about open relationships. I come from a pretty traditional Catholic family that's not really sexual in nature, and we never really talked about sex or anything like that. So that's really my experience. About 6 years ago, I started dating this guy, and we'd been together for 2 or 3 years, and I think at this point we're maybe engaged, or maybe it's just before we got engaged, because he's my husband now, and he approaches me and says, hey, I need to talk to you about this subject. I'm like, sure, that sounds great. Everyone likes to hear that they are going to we need to talk about something. And so he sat down and he said, I really think I'm polyamorous, and he explained what it was. And I mean, I'm at this point completely terrified because it's this person I've been with for a long time, and it's kind of a big change in the relationship, and I have no idea what it means to me. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, my thought was I didn't really want to restrict him, what he felt like his personality was or what his needs were. That just doesn't seem like a good move, or that relationship would ever work out. Mm-hmm. And so I agreed to kind of try, open relationships or polyamory. And I wasn't even sure if it would work or not. And we kind of swung for a little while, mm-hmm. and did a few things and sort of had a unicorn, which you can define.
Oh, thank you. I get points on the board finally. So a unicorn is an individual that wants to date both individuals of a couple. Or a couple is looking for someone who is a bisexual or a third wanting to date both of them. So that third person becomes a unicorn, because it's a term that generally means it's a hard thing to find a balance and find that connection across all three relationships. Because you don't just have A to B and B to A. There's also that triad, which is 3 people in a single relationship all connected together. So there's 3 relationships plus a triad. So really there's a lot of things going on. But yeah.
Yeah. And so we tried that, and I didn't really feel like it was working for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then I met someone, and I mean, I feel like this is what worked for me, is I met someone, and it was really like a sex thing at first. Then I was like, oh, I kind of had feelings for this person. I was like, I'm going to come clean. I get what you were saying this whole time. It has not made sense to me for the 1.5 years that we have been doing things, and now I get it. So that was kind of my coming into polyamory. Mm-hmm. Was a lot of struggle and a lot of ups and downs. And
so the struggle, let's talk about that. What do you mean by struggle?
I was a little jealous for a while, and I didn't know how to handle that. Like, mm-hmm. What does it mean if my partner is spending time with other people? Like, do I get the same amount of time that I would have with him? Like, what does it mean for me sexually? Mm-hmm. And what does it mean? Like, I think I struggled with the idea of him being able to love me and someone else at the same time.
Because a lot of people ask that question, what about jealousy? And jealousy is there for a lot of people, be it a monogamous relationship or in polyamorous. People aren't magically removed from their emotions when they become poly. So it becomes a aspect of communication, actually.
Well, and I think it's more important to kind of identify why you feel jealous, because it's not necessarily that you're jealous of that other person. It's more, I mean, at least for me at the beginning, it was more about my insecurities rather than whatever was actually going on, or that I had boundaries I had no idea I had. and things I wasn't comfortable with that I need to be like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't put ourselves in this situation because it makes me uncomfortable. Or when we don't communicate about whatever topic, then I get nervous and I overthink everything in the world. And I can't be the only person who does that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've not seen anybody else like you before.
Jokes.
Jokes. He's got jokes. I know that I don't have jealousy. I'm that weird guy. I've never had the jealousy bone. I've never had the urge to just scream out and get all wrapped up in my head about this person's going to leave me or they're not doing these things with me. I don't have time with them. I don't have that jealousy. I want my partners to have, as much freedom as they possibly can, and then bring that energy back to me if they can. When they're ready to, they come back. Fantastic! It's a great time because then we get to share that from their perspective. I get to learn differently. I think I have the little brother of jealousy, though.
Little brother.
Envy. Yes. I guess I get envious of some of the activities that my partners will do. Right? Oh, that sounds like awesome. That just sounds incredible. You're going to this, you're going to a convention, you're going to a show. I want to see that movie too. Oh man, a little bit of a twinge there, or a wibble, as some people call it.
I like your term, the wibble.
The wibble, yeah, because it's not like I'm jealous. It's just, wow, I'd like to try that too, and maybe I can do that with one of my other partners, or maybe I do that with the person that I got a little wibbled. But I don't ever let it get out of control. It's like, hey, that sounds like fun. I really want to do that. So,
well, and I almost feel like it's something that, like, from my perspective, I went from thinking it was a really huge deal to now kind of being like, oh, well, I had my wibble, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything in reality.
Right.
I don't know how to say that better. Like, okay, that's happened, and then I move on, and if it's something I need to address, then I'll address it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the other part of it. I mean, we have to, many people say, own your own shit.
Yeah.
In polyamory, because that jealousy can get out of control, and then you kind of address it with your partner in a bad way, when it was really within you to kind of think it over and mesh it out and look at the professor wandering around the studio.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
What are you doing, Professor?
I'm still here.
Okay, he's still here.
And I think, too, like, with that sort of figuring out your own shit,
yeah,
like, it's something it's not even, like, I've figured out my shit, okay, let's move on. It's then I figured out my shit, and then you might have to figure out more shit later. Right.
Well, it's always, and the other aspect that I learned about polyamory is that you have to be able to communicate more often, and more truthful. You have to expose yourself a little bit more to say, this is what I'm feeling. Here's why I'm feeling it. You're not doing anything to make me feel this. This is still within me. But let's talk this out so I have a better understanding. At least you understand why I'm feeling these things. That goes along the lines of the jealousy, right?
Yeah.
But, finding those boundaries, like you were saying.
Well, and I think, too, like, I guess I sort of have an example or a story or whatever. So my husband dates other people, and we live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's real cozy. I mean, the 1 bedroom is, like, right by the living room. You have an open kitchen, there's, like, 1 bathroom, and then there's a bedroom in the back that's just, like, an office, and it's filled with stuff. So it's not really accessible. And so my husband had like, a date, and we talked about it beforehand. He's like, yeah, she's going to spend the night. And I'm like, oh, sure, that sounds great. I'll just sleep on the couch, and it'll be fine. And I hadn't thought, like, about noise levels of things, or if it would be annoying if there was, like, whispering in the next room, and it bothered me, like, all night. And so we kind of had to sit down and talk about it, and I actually talked with some of my friends in the polyamorous community about it. And I was like, yeah, I really have that boundary I didn't know I had. Like, that was really annoying, and I just felt like my space was invaded. Regardless of if I'd said, yeah, it's great. Come have the stay at our house. That's going to be fabulous. I'm so happy for you that you have the sleepover with your other partner. And so we kind of talked it out, and we worked out a few, I guess, house rules to kind of avoid that in the future. And since then, it hasn't really been a problem.
Well, when my partner and I, were early in our poly, one of our rules, and these are things that will melt away if you're Polly for any length of time, was nobody else in her bed. She had this rule. And that melted away within 3 to 6 months because it became unreasonable. But then another balance we discovered was having, if you're able to have a guest room, that can be the playroom. That could be where if there's 2 couples in the house at the same time, at least, there's another room for people to be in. And so there's togetherness and separation at the same time. With my injury, I have to have my bed on a regular basis. I have a very special bed. It has a vibration unit. It goes bendy, like Craftmatic adjustable bed. It has 4 on the floor, 2 on the tree. So it's a fantastic bed. But I have to sleep in that bed if I'm at my house. And so my partner goes off into the other bedroom and stays in there. So, I mean, you've stayed at my house a number of times.
And it's never been really a problem, I don't think.
No, it's never a problem.
Really, like, hiding it.
No. She knows that I need my bed, and sleeping on other surfaces can hurt me. So she's experienced my my back pain and my issues and my disability and stuff like that for a very long time. So. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I've been, like, worried about, or I worried about for a while and realized that I just need to talk to people about it or kind of let it go, is making your partners feel uncomfortable. Like, how do you bridge that gap? Because for a while I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my metamors. Do I have to be friends with them? Should I be talking with them? Like, are they going to tell me if we're having a problem? I don't know these things. I don't know how to do anything. This is all new and scary to me. And I think the answer is you just kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And,
well, that's just, you said it exactly right. What's that, Professor? So I don't exactly remember where I was because we had a power outage here in the studio. Right. Professor, I thought you were working on the nuclear power source.
We said we weren't going to talk about the particle accelerator on this show.
It's kind of hush-hush, man.
Okay, well, you're right. We'll put that to in the show notes.
I think we were talking about respecting your partner's boundaries.
Oh, partners. You the partners. Not everybody gets along.
Nope.
Right? This is going to be a thing. I've had partners that my other partners did not like all of them did not like this one person. And
that can't be fun.
No, it wasn't. And I loved that person very much. And I saw them in a different light, and maybe I was a little blinded at times, even though I wanted them to try to be better. And so I moved down that path, and it eventually just didn't work anymore. So being able to go back and talk to my partners, and they were so gentle when this event happened, when the breakup happened, the broke up happened.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. It became very gentle. They understood it was a long-term relationship, and so they didn't talk down about her. They didn't destroy anything that I was, the image that I was trying to work through and my pain. So it wasn't a lump-on type of situation. It was, we understand you're hurting. Let's talk about that instead.
Well, and I think that's really because even if you don't like your metamors, I think we can all recognize that our partners love them, and so there's at least some feeling that goes along with that, and you should respect that.
Right. Well, I think this is a great first show. As I stumble over my lips, I just washed them, so I can't do a thing with them. It's really horrible. Professor?
Yes.
Are the dilithium crystals charged?
We are fully charged, and this is an armed and operational battle station.
Yes!
I think the professor has problems.
Oh, you have no idea.
I thought we liked the professor's problems.
We do, especially when we made that robot cat, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, this is the Brown Cow, Brown Chicken Show. Well, thank you for listening to our first mini podcast. Please come back next week or the week before, or just go to the archives and listen to them all. If you like what you heard, let us know. If you have some constructive criticisms, please let us know. If you did not like what you heard, shut up. Be quiet. Thank you very much. Laura, thank you.
No problem.
No problem. No more jazz hands?
No, there were no jazz hands.
No jazz hands this time.
Did I add some?
Yeah, there's the jazz hands. Ta-da. Oh, and a ta-da. So thank you very much for joining us. See you next time.
Hello, this is David Lorettamola with the BCBC podcast. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking, what could David possibly tell me about condoms that I don't already know? Here's a fact. Do you get a condom that delivers to you monthly? I don't think you do. But if you order Lucky Blow condoms, they're great. They'll get you through whatever you need to do. And when you're done, no worries. There's no babies coming out of nothing. That's a fact. You can quote me on that. David Lorettamola says, buy Lucky Blow condoms. You'll never regret it.
Wow. I sometimes feel bad that I dragged Laura into this because she didn't know what was going on. I kind of told her, hey, why don't you come along? We're going to go kind of sit down and check out my show and check out all the equipment. And when she got to this place that we were going, to the studio, she didn't know that she was actually going to be on mic. So that's why you hear a little bit of the awkwardness and maybe that newness of being behind the microphone and not knowing what we're talking about. It was basically two people talking about stuff we had no need to talk about and had no experience talking about, but we talked about it anyway. So it was a lot of fun. Anyway, here's the episode 2. Enjoy. Welcome, my little kitties. We are now on our second episode of Meow, exactly. Brown Chicken, Brown Cow. We have alcohol. Well, I used to have alcohol. We have a lot of caffeine in us. I've now had a quad shot of espresso in my mocha, so I'm really able to see through light waves, different spectrums, and walls. So
he's also kind of glowing, so I know you can't see that.
Well,
it's sort of terrifying.
I'm only glowing because of the professor. If you were paying attention to last episode, he let loose some sort of radiation in the studio.
That's just the plutonium in the gin and tonic. There's no problem there.
In the what?
Nothing.
All right. Okay. Moving on. Well, in this episode, we're going to give you an uninformed, partially educated point of view of two vanillas looking into the kink world.
Thumbs up to that.
I was going to say your thumbs upping.
Yeah.
I love the hand gestures.
From waving to thumbs upping. I'm just a very physical person. So.
She talks with her hands. Now we have waves, jazz hands, and thumbs up. You're going to have to come up
combined too. It was
you're going to have to come up with something else. Anyway, so the predominant areas of kink are BDSM. Those are the initials that they use for those different areas. So BD is bondage and discipline. DS is domination and submission. And S&M is sadism and what? Masochism. Thank you. Of course, the professor would understand that one. But I'm vanilla. I'm on a service or website many of you might know called FetLife. I have an account out there, but I am vanilla.
I also have a FetLife account. I maybe check it like once every 2 months when I remember I have it. And I'm like, oh, I need to go add more pictures and, look at things.
My partner is posting. She's adding pictures. She's having conversations. She's engaged.
She has a whole community on there.
Yeah. She is huge in that community, especially here in Sacramento. And she just has embraced that side of her that she never knew was there. And that started about 7 years ago. So she's really just become a huge entity within that community, at least locally here. And I'm always on the outside just looking at it going, I don't get it. I don't want to be beat.
I guess I kind of get it. If being beat or rough sex is what turns you on or gets you more excited, more power to you,
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't want to dominate anybody. I don't want to be dominated by people. Bondage looks interesting, though. I don't want to be the one tied up. But have you seen shibari rope? You don't know what I'm talking about.
Can you see the blank look in my eyes?
Yes, I saw that.
I can't help you with that topic. I'm sorry.
Went right down that dead end road. Awesome.
Yeah. Tell me more,
Professor. Do you know anything about shibari?
Shibari is an art of tying people up that was descended from the feudal arts of Japan, where it was used to restrain captives.
Now you see why we call him Professor. So Shibari, it's beautiful. It's awesome. I've seen a lot of it. You can go online and just type in Shibari rope play, and there's just some really amazing stuff. I don't know if you've not seen any rope play or anything like that, suspensions or rope. Or here's one that I really can't get into is where they put the hooks through your body.
I've seen that.
You just shuddered.
I know.
And this is something people really, really like to do because they'll put the hooks through the skin, and then they'll raise you up off the ground and then swing you around the room. It's supposed to be a massive endorphin rush or release.
Maybe.
No, I don't think I can do that. But then again, I'm over 300 pounds. I don't think people really want to be lifting me. And that'd take a lot more hooks, I think. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not even about the weight. I don't like really needles and like hooks in my body.
You don't want hooks and needles in your body?
No, I'm good. I've never even tried acupuncture. Just, whew. Like, I can barely get, please give me my flu shot. I need to look away and just continue to talk until you put the needle in my body and it's done. It's kind of sad, really.
Wow.
I know, right?
You're all cringy and stuff.
Yeah, it's how I knew I wasn't going to be a veterinarian. Needles.
All the veterinarians. In the audience today, we actually have a nurse.
See, she gets it.
Yeah.
That's what that face
when you said needles and veterinarian, she's just got a big look in her eyes, and she was like, "Oh boy." Yeah, because she deals with far worse things than doggies and kitties having problems. But
yeah, man, more power to you. Well played. Well done.
In addition to rope play, you also what other type of bondage? You
just have like softer bonds. Like
softer
bonds? I'm pretty vanilla myself, but I don't mind being tied up and like blindfolded and just teased for a very extended period of time. That's fine with me. That's the most non-vanilla I get, though. That's about it.
Yeah, just bonded you and teased the hell out of you.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Okay, just tie you down. So handcuffs or rope or
I just have handcuffs
ties.
Right now, but
do
I've used like bondage tape.
Tape.
Yes.
Wow, is it different than duct tape?
Yeah, it's not really tape. It's like I don't actually know what it's made of. It's been a really long time since I've had it. It's kind of like the material the trash bags are made out of, but it like sticks to itself, but it doesn't stick to your skin.
I've never had it. No.
I'm gonna find you some.
Everything sticks to my skin, so I'm a little worried now.
Well, I mean, it's not tape in that sense. It just sticks to itself.
So no duct tape.
There's no sticky side.
No sticky side.
No.
Sort of like those Ace wraps,
self-adhering,
like a really
wraps.
cheap plastic version of that. That's actually exactly what it's like. Yeah. So there's that.
So, is there anything that squigs you out about some of these things in the kink world? I mean, you don't like the hooks going through your body.
I don't have to do them, so I don't really care what other people do in the bedroom, in all honesty.
Good answer, but we're talking about you.
What
makes you guys kind of recoil or go, no, I don't think so? Or
I've been told I make a really bad sub, like a really bad submissive person, because I get kind of snarky. And like, yeah, tell me what to do. I'll do that. Nobody wants to hear that. I mean, unless maybe you do, and then, let me know. But
yeah, go ahead, tell me what to do.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Like, no, that's not what we're doing right now. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're killing me.
I did say I didn't know much about
No, honestly,
the lifestyle.
I've seen a lot of things, and I've actually been in sexy trivia nights. Like bar trivia. And I've won the trivia because I know these things that are going, all the names and positions. And I've been on Urban Dictionary a lot. And so I understand some of the dialogue and the weird names for things. And but, bondage doesn't do it for me. Dominating people doesn't do it for me.
I mean, candle play kind of looks fun. Or wax play, is that what it's called?
As long as you have the right wax,
well,
apparently.
Yeah.
Because you can get the wrong wax and burn people.
I said it could be fun. I didn't say it was always fun. Because apparently you can burn people.
One that I thought was interesting, even though it wouldn't be for me because I am kind of furry, is the latex play. The where you paint on latex, and it dries on your skin, so it's like a skin.
Oh.
You're cringing at this.
I have enough fur on me, and it's like, it's faint. I know you can't see it, but it's definitely there.
So yeah, you paint the latex on and it dries, and then part of the fun is peeling it off. I've seen that. It's interesting, but I'm like furry all over, so it would just be basically a waxing. I think that would be. Nobody wants that.
No.
So
does having multiple partners at the same time fall into like the kink community?
That's a good question, because being swinging or poly or open or any type of ethical non-monogamy to a lot of people just sounds so bizarre that it can fall into your kink.
I always think of it as more like non-traditional relationships or non-traditional sex, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's a better word for that.
Well, non-traditional relationship models, yeah.
Yeah.
And people from the outside look at that and go, "Oh, you're crazy. I can't. I don't, that just sounds like busy work. I don't know. I can barely handle one relationship. Why would I want to handle all those?" And then they also apply that to, "Wow, you must be getting sex a lot. You must be doing a lot of really wild sex. You must be doing all the weird sex."
All the weird sex.
Well, it's like the difference between kinky sex. What's kinky and what's perverted? The difference. Well, kinky is using a feather. Perverted, the whole chicken. Nothing for this?
Terrible. It's a terrible joke, and we're all judging you.
Yes, I loved that.
We apologize for that.
I love how it got completely quiet. Professor?
What? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you got very quiet over there.
Actually, I was thinking of an old joke. Somebody said, "I want you in the worst way." And I said, "The worst way I can imagine is standing up in a hammock."
That sounds awful.
See?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath. So, it's whatever you see as normal becomes your normal. So people in monogamous relationships look at people in non-monogamous relationships, and sometimes they feel like you guys are crazy over there doing all that stuff.
Well, and I think too, what's interesting that I think about is if you look back, like even for me, like 5 or 10 years ago, like the way I thought about sex or the things I thought were really weird that people would do are completely different than I feel about them today. Like I just, you do you. That's great. It doesn't affect me. So continue on.
You do you. Doesn't affect me.
Well, because I can remember back when I was in college, and I went to an all-women's college, and I will say that most of the rumors about those are true, except for nobody's trying to recruit you to be a lesbian. But I had a friend who used to walk her girlfriend like on a collar around the quad, and I used to think it was like the weirdest thing, and I didn't understand, and I could never like build up the confidence to ask like what that was and why they would do that, and that apparently could be a kink thing.
Well, that's owned, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that is definitely a thing. Another thing I'm not into. I don't want to own people that way, but that's part of the scene or part of the moment, and some people do that type of situation 24/7. Mm-hmm. And so,
I actually have a good friend who kind of does that with her partner. Is that she has to kind of identify what she's going to do for her entire day and get permission. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because they don't even live together, so it's sort of like this verbal thing they do via text, and it's just I couldn't do it. I have a hard time being told what to do. So
really. So you're not going to say the sign off? Yeah, see, she's not going to sign off. I knew. She just gave me the look. No, I'm not going to sign off. You sign off. I want to thank you all for joining us for the second episode. Laura, thank you for joining us again.
You're welcome.
That was almost a question, I think. That was really weird. Professor, thank you.
As always.
Oh, geez, he's so focused. You can't hardly get him into a hard conversation unless it's about plutonium or robot cats or...
Yeah. Robot cats.
Or plutonium-powered robot cats.
Oh, why did I put that in his head? Anyway, thank you for joining us. We are the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow Show. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, give us a like, give us a review. If you don't like what you heard, don't do those things. That's the best way to support us. Also, please if you're locally in the area to Sacramento, check us out at the live show. That's going to be a lot of fun. And We'll have comedians and musicians and magicians, maybe. I don't know.
And fire trucks.
Oh, no.
Definitely
No.
fire trucks, but like the kinds that kids play with.
No, he wants to
Standards.
well, he's trying to put up the fireworks display and really just set things on fire, I think. Anyway, so thank you very much for joining us again. I am Monkey.
I'm Laura.
I'm the professor.
He's the professor over there. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye. So there you go. There's our very first 2 episodes. We decided to wrap them up into one so that you don't have so much pain, so that we can get them in front of you so you can see what we were like when we first started. Just get an idea. Guess what? Remember I talked about the Madam and the Professor? That's coming up next week. All you have to do is, if you're late, click on the next episode. You're going to hear them right now. If not, you've just listened to this. You just got to wait a few days and we'll be back with you. Anyway, this is the Monkey. This has been Brown Chicken, Brown Cow Podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a fantastic month of looking back and seeing where we're going in the future. Thank you very much. Be good to each other. Have a good night. Bye. Hi, guys. This is Sean Monkey McEnany, Monkey for short. What you need to know now is that Brown Chicken, Brown Cow needs your love. It needs your help. And it, well, you know, personally, we could use your money. But short of that, what you need to do is go out and like our Facebook page. Number 2, give us a review on whatever podcast ability you have. Go out to iTunes, go out to Google Play, give us a good review because that helps. Number 3, subscribe. Subscribe to our podcast because that helps our numbers, helps us with advertisers, helps us with everything. It makes us look good, actually. And number 4, and this is very important, come close to the speaker. It's fantastic. You can go out to Patreon and support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/BCBC podcast. You can support us at whatever level of support you think you can manage. I don't want you to give us money if you can't do it, but I want you to give us some money and we'll give you back some love as well. We'll give you back some stuff. We'll talk about you on the radio. Who knows? But in the end, supporting us helps keep the show going. Subscribing to the podcast gives us better numbers. And liking our Facebook page, guess what? You always know when the show's coming. So, this is Monkey. You're you. We are together. Cuckoo-cuckoo. Fantastic. See you on the next show.
For information on becoming a sponsor, advertising with us, or becoming a guest on our show, visit us at brownchickenbrowncowshow.com. All information in this show is copyright 2018 by the Brown Chicken Brown Cow Show and Podcast and Mariu Creative Solutions. All rights are reserved.
Brown chicken, brown cow. Brown chicken, brown cow. Brown chicken, brown cow. Brown chicken, brown cow.